I do not know how I got here, but this is London, and the year is 1666. This city feels alive, but also dangerously packed together. Wood, pitch, cloth, candles, and almost no empty space. This is Pudding Lane. In a few hours, this small street will become the start of one of London's greatest disasters. It begins so small, not with a roar, but with heat, wood, and one ordinary place at the wrong moment. There is smoke above the bakery. Nobody outside has noticed yet. The alarm is beginning, but it still sounds like a local problem, not the future of a city changing. They think this can still be stopped with buckets and urgency. Maybe if the wind were kinder, it could be. The wind is carrying sparks from one house to another. The city itself is becoming fuel. The houses are so close together that the fire does not need to jump far. London has built its own path for disaster. The bucket lines are brave, but they are too small for what this is becoming. The fire is moving west. It is no longer one burning house. It is becoming a direction. Down by the river, the city stores things that burn easily: rope, oil, wood, tar, and trade itself. When people leave, they do not carry history. They carry blankets, papers, tools, and whatever their hands can hold. The sky is turning red before sunrise. That is when everyone begins to understand the scale. For some people, the river is the safest road out of the burning city. Every room contains something that can burn, and every object means something to someone. The bells are everywhere now. Not one warning, but many warnings overlapping. They are preparing to pull these houses down. To stop the fire, they may have to destroy part of London with their own hands. In a fire like this, hesitation becomes fuel. Every minute gives the flames more streets to claim. This is not rebuilding. This is emergency subtraction, removing one house to save many others. The street I entered this morning is vanishing behind smoke. The city is losing its shape. Old St. Paul's still looks untouchable from here. But tonight, nothing in London feels untouchable. Some are saving property. Some are saving proof that their lives existed. Near the bridge, fear spreads faster than flame. Everyone is asking where the fire will turn next. Morning has come, but it does not feel like day. It feels like London is trapped inside one long red hour. This is not a scene of chaos. It is a scene of decisions made too quickly. Once the roofs catch, the fire travels above people's heads like a second road. When the whole street is threatened, a locked door becomes meaningless. The Thames is carrying pieces of London away before the fire can take them. History often becomes real in small objects. A toy, a bundle, a hand held tightly. The wind is relentless. It is not just weather tonight. It is part of the event. People are standing at a distance now, watching streets they know become light and smoke. No one here truly sleeps. They rest beside everything they could carry. Orders are finally moving faster. But the fire has already had a long head start. London is fighting fire with absence, creating empty space where flames cannot feed. The sound is impossible to forget. Bells, wind, wood breaking, and a city trying to save itself. Old St. Paul's is now in the path of the fire. Even stone feels fragile tonight. People trust the cathedral because it feels permanent. But Permanence is exactly what this fire is challenging. The fire does not respect what people consider sacred, strong, or important. I cannot believe what I am seeing. The heart of the city is burning against the sky. The city is no longer only streets and houses. It has become a camp of people waiting to know what is left. Even in disaster, people still need food, warmth, and a place to sit. The fire line looks like another city, one made only of flame and smoke. The night is too bright. That is the most unnatural thing about it. By the third day, London is not only burning, it is being buried in its own ash. This was a street. Yesterday, people walked here, argued here, sold bread here, and opened doors here. After fire comes searching. Not for treasure, but for proof that something survived. For the first time, the fire feels slower than the people fighting it. The wind has changed. After days of feeding the flames, the air itself seems to loosen its grip. This is not victory. It is exhaustion. Fire, city, and people all running out of strength. 4 days later, the fire is finally losing. London is still here, but it is no longer the same city. It is hard to understand loss at this scale, until every street becomes a memory map. People are coming back, not because it is safe or easy, but because home is a direction as much as a place. The smoke stays after the flames. It makes the air itself feel like memory. Now London becomes measurements, streets lost, churches lost, homes lost, lives changed. A disaster this large is never only one spark. It is weather, buildings, delay, fuel, and chance meeting in one terrible moment. This small place changed the shape of one of the world's great cities. After the fire, London will ask how a city should be rebuilt so it does not burn this way again. The future London will rise from brick, stone, regulation, and painful memory. What burned here will be rebuilt. But rebuilt does not mean forgotten. The Great Fire did not erase London. It forced London to imagine itself differently. A key, a cup, a page. These are the small witnesses of a citywide disaster. History remembers the fire. But the fire was lived one family at a time. What survives first is not architecture. It is cooperation. The Thames watched the city burn, carried people away, and now carries them back toward whatever comes next. The fire is ending, but the story it created is only beginning. I'll remember how ordinary it looked at first, and how quickly ordinary became impossible. London will rise again, but it will carry this fire in its laws, streets, buildings, and memory. The ash is a warning. Cities are not just made of buildings. They are made of choices.
This is the same city before and after one disaster changed its future.
The Great Fire still matters because it shows how one city's weakness became the reason it rebuilt stronger. I came here to witness a city in flames. I am leaving with the feeling that survival is also a form of rebuilding. London burned for days in 1666, but it did not disappear. It changed, and that is why this fire